The twin flame journey is one of the most profound spiritual experiences one can undergo. It is a journey of self discovery, transformation, and deep healing. At the heart of this sacred connection lies the dynamic between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, two complementary energies that exist within every person, regardless of gender. However, due to societal conditioning, personal traumas, and unhealed wounds, these energies can become imbalanced. One of the most common imbalances occurs when the divine feminine finds herself embodying her masculine energy too strongly. While both masculine and feminine energies are necessary for wholeness, an over-reliance on masculine traits can block the divine feminine from fully stepping into her natural essence. This misalignment can create obstacles in relationships, personal growth, and the twin flame connection itself. When the divine feminine is in her masculine energy, she may experience exhaustion, emotional disconnection, or difficulty receiving love and support. She may struggle with control, independence to the point of isolation, and an overwhelming need to do everything on her own. These are not just subtle shifts, they are loud, undeniable signs that something is out of balance. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward healing and returning to a place of flow, surrender, and receptivity. Coming up are 7 screaming signs that the divine feminine is stuck in her masculine energy. Number 1, she feels the need to control everything. One of the clearest signs that the divine feminine is in her masculine energy is an overwhelming need for control. In her natural state, the divine feminine trusts, flows, and surrenders to the universe. She understands that life unfolds in divine timing and does not need to force things into place. However, when she shifts into her masculine energy, she begins to grasp tightly onto every detail, believing that if she doesn't control things, they will fall apart. This manifests in various ways. She may struggle to let go of situations that no longer serve her, fearing that surrendering means losing power. In relationships, she may try to dictate how things should unfold, constantly overthinking and planning instead of allowing things to develop naturally. She may micromanage people around her, feeling frustrated when things don't go according to her expectations. This need for control often stems from fear of abandonment, fear of uncertainty, or fear of being hurt. It creates tension and resistance, making it difficult for her to truly embrace the softness, trust, and intuition of her divine feminine energy. To shift out of this pattern, she must practice letting go. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility, but rather understanding that true power comes from trust, not control. Learning to embrace uncertainty, surrendering to divine timing, and allowing space for things to unfold naturally will help her return to her feminine essence. Number 2, she is overly independent to the point of isolation. Independence is a valuable trait, but when taken to the extreme, it can become a form of self-imposed isolation. The divine feminine, when too deep in her masculine energy, may believe that she must always be strong, capable, and self-sufficient. She convinces herself that relying on others is a weakness, leading her to reject help even when she needs it the most. This excessive independence creates an emotional barrier, making it difficult for her to form deep, meaningful connections with others. She may hesitate to ask for assistance, even in simple situations, because she fears appearing vulnerable. Whether it's in her career, personal life, or relationships, she feels a strong urge to prove that she can handle everything on her own. This belief can make her reluctant to share her struggles, leaving her feeling emotionally drained and unsupported. Over time, this pattern can lead to exhaustion, loneliness, and resentment as she carries burdens that were never meant to be shouldered alone. In relationships, this over-reliance on independence can push people away. She may struggle to trust her partner to provide emotional or practical support. Even when someone genuinely cares for her, she may unconsciously create distance, fearing that opening up will make her lose control. Instead of allowing herself to be nurtured, she prioritizes self-sufficiency, missing out on the warmth and connection that true intimacy offers. Often this deep need for independence is rooted in past wounds. If she has been let down, betrayed, or abandoned before, she may have learned to depend only on herself. She tells herself that relying on others leads to disappointment, so she builds walls to protect herself. While this may have been a necessary survival mechanism at some point, it now prevents her from experiencing the depth of love and support that she truly desires. To restore balance, she must shift her perspective on independence. True strength does not come from isolation, but from knowing when to lean on others. She must allow herself to receive, whether it's help, love, or emotional support. This means recognizing that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a bridge to deeper connection. Small acts like accepting assistance with daily tasks, sharing her thoughts with someone she trusts, or letting herself be cared for can help her soften into her feminine energy. She must also remember that interdependence is a natural part of life. The feminine energy thrives in connection, community, and shared experiences. By allowing herself to be open and receptive, she creates space for more love, support, and emotional nourishment. The more she embraces the flow of giving and receiving, the more balanced and whole she will feel. Number 3, she struggles to connect with her emotions. The divine feminine is naturally intuitive, emotional, and deeply connected to her inner world. However, when she becomes too rooted in masculine energy, she starts to distance herself from her emotions. Instead of allowing herself to feel and express, she intellectualizes her experiences. She may analyze emotions rather than experience them, seeking logical explanations instead of embracing the raw, unfiltered truth of what she feels. This emotional disconnection often begins subtly. She may suppress sadness, brush off disappointment, or ignore her gut feelings in favor of what seems rational. She might convince herself that emotions are an inconvenience or a distraction from her goals. Over time, this suppression leads to emotional numbness. She may find it difficult to cry, struggle to feel joy fully, or experience an overwhelming sense of emptiness, even in moments that should be fulfilling. One of the reasons she disconnects from her emotions is because she sees them as something that needs to be controlled. She fears that if she lets herself feel too much, she will become overwhelmed or appear weak. As a result, she prioritizes logic, structure, and control, avoiding any situation that might make her feel emotionally vulnerable. She may even struggle to recognize her own needs, suppressing them to maintain an image of strength and stability. However, emotions are not meant to be hidden or suppressed. They are meant to be felt and processed. Ignoring emotions does not make them disappear. Instead, they build up over time, manifesting as stress, anxiety, or even physical tension. The more she disconnects from her emotions, the further she drifts from her true feminine essence. To reconnect with her emotions, she must give herself permission to feel without judgment. She can start by creating safe spaces for emotional expression, such as journaling her thoughts, meditating on what she truly feels, or engaging in creative activities that allow her to release pent-up emotions. Movement, such as dancing or yoga, can also help her reconnect with her body and emotions, breaking through the barriers she has built over time. Another important step is learning to trust her intuition again. Her inner voice is always guiding her, but when she suppresses emotions, she also suppresses her ability to listen to that guidance. By allowing herself to slow down, reflect, and embrace her emotional side, she will gradually rebuild her connection to her intuition. Healing this imbalance is not about forcing emotions to the surface, but about creating space for them to flow naturally. When she allows herself to feel deeply, she reclaims the power of her divine feminine energy. She realizes that emotions are not a weakness. They are a source of wisdom, guidance, and true connection to herself and others. Number 4, she operates in a constant state of doing. Instead of being masculine energy is focused on goals, efficiency, and external achievements. It values action over stillness, logic over intuition, and structure over flow. While these qualities are essential, an overdependence on them can leave the divine feminine feeling disconnected from her true nature. She begins to function like a machine, constantly working, planning, and striving for the next accomplishment. She may take pride in being busy, feeling that productivity validates her worth. However, in doing so, she neglects the softer, more receptive aspects of her being. This imbalance often manifests in an inability to slow down. She may wake up each day with a long to-do list, moving from one task to the next without taking a moment to breathe. Even when she completes a project or meets a goal, she immediately shifts her focus to the next thing. Instead of celebrating her progress, She feels an urgency to do more, achieve more, and prove herself. Rest feels unproductive, and moments of stillness may even cause her anxiety. Over time, this constant state of doing takes a toll. She may feel physically drained, emotionally disconnected, and mentally overwhelmed. Burnout becomes a familiar experience, yet she pushes through, ignoring the warning signs. Creativity, which thrives in spaciousness and play, begins to diminish. Joyful activities feel like a luxury she cannot afford. Instead of flowing with life, she forces her way through it, convinced that slowing down means falling behind. The truth is, feminine energy flourishes in presence, not in pressure. The divine feminine is meant to experience life through feeling, sensing, and intuiting, not just through accomplishing. She must learn to embrace stillness without guilt, understanding that her value is not tied to how much she produces. She is already worthy simply by existing. To return to her natural state, she must consciously practice slowing down. This can start with small shifts, such as setting aside moments of rest throughout the day, embracing silence, or engaging in activities that nourish her soul rather than drain her energy. She can reconnect with her feminine flow by doing things that bring her joy, whether it's dancing, painting, spending time in nature, or simply sitting in stillness without an agenda. The more she allows herself to be present, the more she will realize that life is not meant to be a race. Fulfillment does not come from endless striving, but from fully experiencing the richness of each moment. As she lets go of the need to constantly do, she opens herself to a more effortless, aligned, and peaceful way of being. Number 5, she struggles to receive love and affection. The divine feminine is naturally open, receptive, and welcoming of love. She embodies softness, allowing herself to be cherished, adored, and nurtured. However, when she is overly rooted in masculine energy, she begins to resist this natural receptivity. She finds it difficult to accept love, affection, and care from others, often feeling unworthy or uncomfortable in moments of deep connection. This struggle can show up in many ways. She may brush off compliments, downplay acts of kindness, or reject offers of help, even when she needs it. When someone expresses love toward her, she may feel uneasy, unsure of how to receive it fully. She might immediately feel the need to reciprocate, believing that love must be earned rather than freely given. At the core of this resistance is a deep-seated belief that she must always be the giver, the nurturer, and the caretaker. She may have learned that love is something she provides for others, but not something she is allowed to receive without conditions. She may fear that accepting love will make her dependent, vulnerable, or burdensome to those around her. This imbalance creates exhaustion and emotional depletion. When she constantly pours into others without allowing herself to be filled, she becomes drained, unappreciated, and even resentful. True feminine energy thrives in the balance of both giving and receiving. When she blocks herself from receiving love, she is not just rejecting others. She is also rejecting a fundamental part of herself. To shift this pattern, she must first acknowledge that she is worthy of love, simply as she is. She does not have to prove herself, earn affection, or always be the one providing. Love is not transactional. It is meant to be a natural, mutual exchange. She must allow herself to soften into receiving, starting with small acts. This could be as simple as accepting a compliment without deflecting, allowing someone to help her without guilt, or embracing a hug fully without pulling away. The more she practices receiving, the more she will realize that love is abundant and available to her. She does not have to struggle for it or prove herself worthy. By opening her heart, she steps back into her feminine essence, allowing love, connection, and support to flow to her effortlessly. Number 6, she has difficulty trusting the masculine. A divine feminine deeply rooted in her masculine energy often struggles to trust the masculine, both in others and within herself. She may have experienced betrayal, abandonment, or hurt that has led her to believe she must always be in control. This can result in a resistance to surrender, a fear of relying on others, and a subconscious pushback against masculine guidance and protection. She may find herself questioning motives, expecting the worst, or avoiding deep emotional intimacy. To heal this, she must work on restoring her trust in the masculine energy, both externally and internally. She must remember that true masculine energy is not about control or domination, but about stability, strength, and support. Number 7. She feels disconnected from her intuition. The divine feminine's greatest gift is her intuition. When she is too focused on her masculine energy, she may ignore her inner knowing, relying instead on logic and external validation. This leads to doubt, hesitation, and a feeling of being lost. Reconnecting with her intuition means tuning in, listening to her inner voice, and trusting that she already has the answers within her. By recognizing these signs and making conscious shifts, the divine feminine can return to her natural state, one of flow, trust, and divine alignment.